Good evening, everyone, and welcome to District's 38 Masterclass, The Road to DTM. Our facilitator for this evening is Cynthia Ngaba, current Distinguished Toastmaster. She has earned her MBA from LaSalle University in 2011 and has worked for 13 years for the City of Philadelphia as a data and research manager at the Revenue Department. Eventually, she has been promoted to the Director of Revenue Enhancement at the Department of Human Services. Currently, Cynthia is a freelancer in DevOps and Linux system engineering. I know I mispronounced that. In her quest to become a better communicator and leader, Cynthia joined the Positively Charged Toastmasters Club in Philadelphia in 2013 and has served as its president. She has also served our District 38 in various leadership capacities as an area director, an open house coordinator, and currently this year as our Distinguished Toastmaster coordinator. Her passion is to see people win and become the better version of themselves, which is why she is here with us tonight to share and to journey with you on how to achieve your DTM in 2 years. Please help me welcome Cynthia Ngaba. Cynthia.
Thank you so much, Anne. And thank you for assisting with the chat. Anne has multiple hats. She's the speechcraft coordinator. So if you have questions, please email her. She's the master class coordinator, and she does many other things. So thank you and welcome, everyone. All of us are here for different reasons. The first question that I would like to ask the audience, and I would like you to type in the chat real quick. You don't have to write a whole documentary, but why did you join Toastmaster? For me, I joined Toastmaster because I wanted to become a better communicator, but most importantly, I just wanted to meet friends or make friends. I came from Cameroon. French was my first language. I needed to become more fluent in English. I went to Google, how do you find friends? And Toastmaster came up, believe it or not. I was shocked. I had no idea what Toastmaster was about. Maybe give better toast, maybe become masters. And what? I had no idea. And I can say in the chat, get rid of butterflies. Yes. Give better presentations at work. Yeah. Write better speeches. Yes. To keep my friends' attention. That was the queen of the sea. I love that. Yes. So we all have different reasons why we join Toastmasters. And then after you join Toastmasters, what was your goal? Did you have any goal? Did you even know what you were doing there? And if you can please put the first slide. So as she's doing that, what are your goals in Toastmaster? Type again in the chat. Did you know that only 1% of Toastmasters ever achieve their DTM or Distinguished Toastmaster Award? Well, we are here tonight to change that. We want to see that number maybe to 70% by next year. One of my goals when I joined Toastmasters, just like you guys said, become a better speaker, but not just a better speaker, to get my DTM, which is the highest level of accomplishment in Toastmaster. Other people have different goals. They want to become the champion in public speaking. It doesn't matter, whichever goal you have, the DTM will all help you achieve that goal. So I see in the chat, memorize my materials, which I still not have time to do it. Okay. ATM goals. I can see some people are part of the legacy program. New goal is to become an accredited speaker. Awesome. All right. So we all have our different goal. Next slide, please. So tonight we have a lot of ground to cover. And 2 slides over. Thank you. We will go over the goals, the pathways, DTM requirements, the TI structure, the different learning paths and levels, the DTM project, a couple of sample projects, because some of us are still confused. We're not sure what we need to do. And finally, we're going to have a timeline in how to get our DTM in 2 years. You can do it. We've all heard that failing to plan is planning to fail. You can have a goal and not make it specific enough. For example, I want to become a better speaker. It's a great goal. However, it might not get you far. If you rephrase it, I want to become a better speaker in 2 years, in 1 year, in 12 months. Now you have something to work with. And in our specific case, we want to accomplish our DTM in 2 years. Now you can break down the 2 years in quarters or month. You make it specific, you make it measurable, and within those months, you're going to put down some actions. Now your goal is action oriented. You're making it realistic. 1 year, it's a bit aggressive, but 2 years, anybody can do that. And also, it's time sensitive. So our goals need to be SMART: specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time sensitive. Now we are in Toastmaster. Some of us are new to Toastmasters. We don't even know what Toastmaster is about, and we have no idea. So let me back up a little bit. Toastmaster has a structure, a specific structure. You have the headquarters. Then within a headquarters, you have the regions, the district, the division, the area, and then the club and the members. And we are part of District 38. As such, in order to achieve our Distinguished Toastmaster in pathways, can you back up 1 second, please? Thank you. You are going to be required to take on some leadership roles as well as some projects. At the district, area, division, or club, there are specific roles that you can take on, and we'll see that in the next slides. So that's the leadership track. But you can also assist the club in getting better. You're talking about becoming a club sponsor, a club mentor, or a club coach. You can also do some specific workshops. You either have the speechcraft or the youth leadership. The youth is geared towards youth up to the age of 18. It's usually a series of 8 sessions, 1 to 2 hours, where you present Toastmasters basically in the education or communication plan of Toastmaster. Like you run like a demo meeting to introduce those youth to Toastmaster and help them become communicators or better communicators. Speechcraft is geared towards a different population, but the goals are the same. And it's also a useful tool to recruit members. And here Anne is our Speechcraft coordinator for the District 38 for the current year. In addition to that leadership, you also are required to do some educational or speeches and projects. There are a total of 30 projects that you'll be asked to take on and complete. But I do want to mention here, whether you're working on your leadership track or the educational track, they are not completely separate. As a leader, you'll be asked to give speeches. And as you are giving those speeches, you can get credit for your educational path. So they are not separate boxes. You can kill two birds with one stone here. And at the end of it, you're going to be asked to do a DTM project. Next slide, please. So just wanted to give you an idea of what are the roles that you can accomplish or you can take on at the club, at the area, division, a district, and all those are good for you to earn or to get credits. Like myself, I'm a DTM coordinator and is a speechcraft coordinator. She'll get credit for that. At the club level, you can be the club president, the vice president of membership, and so on and so forth. It's self-explanatory. Next slide. Now let's zoom in a little bit on the educational path. There are a total of 11 paths that you can choose from. If you are new, you are confused, you don't know what path to take, it's okay. The Toastmaster International website has a selector tool that can walk you through a couple of questions, and then at the end, it will suggest 2 or 3 paths for you to consider. The first 2 paths are free, and the third one, starting with the third one, you're going to have to pay for that. Next slide. Do want to add there are some updates happening at TI, Toastmasters International. This first half of the year, they are only going to allow, moving forward, 6 out of the 11 paths. But don't worry, if you have started a path that is not listed here on the screen, you will be grandfathered. So you will not lose everything that you have done or you have started working on. However, you might not see any new updates on those plans. So if you are working on any of the 5 paths that do not appear on the screen, on the right-hand side of the screen, that blue spot, that's okay. You will still be considered as, it will still be considered as a path. So you don't have to worry about that. Next slide. Now, each path, it's organized in different levels. And there are 5 levels. And they kind of build on top of each other. And at some levels, depending on the path that you are choosing, those paths might have specific or elective projects in addition to your speaking engagement. So just be aware of that. Next slide. Now that you've completed your educational path and then you have done your leadership track, it's time to focus on your DTM. What is the DTM project? Members are required to create and implement a project. And it's like think about the capstone where you were in school. Once you get there, you know you have completed all your project, all your classes, and this is it. You are in the finish line once you get here. The project can benefit either Toastmasters or it can be outside of Toastmasters. It could be your community. It could be geared towards your company, your church, whatever you want to take on. It does not have to have an oversight and approval committee. My folks that were part of the legacy project, you might remember your high performance leadership project. It's a bit different. It's not the same, but it's similar. And here you don't have that oversight. However, you need a team. And at the end of the DTM project, you will need to have an evaluation or to be evaluated by your team. And you can have access to the DTM project base in Basecamp once you have achieved, excuse me, at least level 5 of your first path. That means you have completed your first path and you have started your second path and you have completed level 1, 2, and 3. So if you have 3 paths that you are working on and you have completed your first path, then on your second path, you have level 1 completed. And on your third path, you have level 1 and 2, you cannot have access to Basecamp. It has to be your first 2 paths. The first one you've completed, the second path, you have at least 1, 2, and 3. Then you can email educationprogram@toastmasters.org to have access to the different projects. Next slide. At this point, I just want to talk a little bit on the different projects that you guys can consider and what we've seen done in the past. Maybe your school, your alma mater doesn't have a great alumni engagement, and you wanna get that started, or you want to revitalize your alumni. That could be a project, and you will get credit for that. Maybe you have youth in your neighborhood or your church, and they kind of just wandering around, and you want to impart some knowledge and guide them. You can organize a youth ministry. That will count as a DTM project. Or maybe you want to do some digital transformation in your community. Maybe you're part of an organization and they don't have the technology appropriate. Now, most people are online and you want to take on that project, go ahead, by all means. Remember, only the sky is the limit. And if you still have questions, just email me and I'll make sure to get back to you. The projects do not have to be just outside of Toastmaster. Your trio, the district trio, needs help in order to achieve their mission this year. So there are a couple, next slide, please. There are a couple of roles that you can take on. You've heard of audit chair. If you are in a past conference, last year conference, you probably heard the finance manager talking about her role and her needs of an audit chair. So you can volunteer. This year still possible. Volunteer for that. The conference is coming up soon, May 3rd, 4th, and 5th. In order to have an awesome conference, we need help. The district need help. You can be the conference chair, the registration chair, hospitality, logistic, sponsorship, or first timer. Just reach out to Rhonda or anybody in the trio. You can be a speechcraft coordinator like Anne is for this current year, youth leadership coordinator, DTM, or pathway coordinator. If people have questions about how do I get on pathways, I'm new, I don't know how to do this, you can be a pathway and just walk them through how to get there. The district also needs someone to coordinate the parade of banners. If you've ever attended any conference, sometimes I think it's before the luncheon, I can't remember. The clubs, all the clubs come in with their flags and their clubs, logos, whatever they have representing the club, and they go around the room with those specific how would I call them? Let's just call them logos. So they go around the room. So we need someone to coordinate that, make sure that all the clubs are represented, and just put some order in that. Or the contests. Right now, contests are going around, and there are a lot of people who need help. They don't know how to manage contests. Maybe they are new at this role, or maybe a contestant has a question. So the trio and the district need help with that. Also, the trophy distribution during the conference, the district need help with that. So think about it. You have ample projects, so by now I'm sure you guys starting to think about, oh, I can do this, I can do that. That is great. Now, let's talk about how you can accomplish your DTM in 2 years. Just to recap, we know we have leadership roles to take on. We know we have our educational path to complete, but then we also know that we need a plan. If we don't plan, we cannot accomplish much. So how do we do that in 2 years? What I'm suggesting is the first 2 years. I know now we're in February, but let's just back up and imagine that we have just started the new year. The first 2 weeks, what I'm suggesting to you is to start planning the whole 2 years. You know you have 30 projects. You can do 2 per month or 4 per quarter. That's doable. That's you speaking once every 2 weeks. And if you have taken some leadership roles, as you're going around the district making speeches, that counts. That would be more than 2 per month, and you probably complete your 2 path in the first year. So think about it. The first year, start thinking about, not just thinking about, but actually becoming a leader. Take on club officer's role. Right now, your president has probably started talking about next year and encouraging people to step up. After this, just email your president. Go ahead and do it. Email your president and say, I want to be the VPM next year. I want to be the Sergeant at Arms. I want to step up and become the club president next year. Election will be done in May, and then all the names need to be submitted by June 30th. I'm also suggesting to complete your first learning path in the first year. Start thinking about your YLP or your speechcraft. You don't have to do that the first year. Just start thinking about it. Do I want to go the route of YLP or speechcraft? And remember, if you're doing YLP or speechcraft, you also have the option of club sponsorship. So it's either of the three. You can either become a club sponsor, or you can do YLP, Youth Leadership Program, or speechcraft. You don't have to do all three. And then if you want to do club mentorship, it's either club mentor or coaching. Either of the two. So first year, I'm recommending to do either mentor or coaching. What's the difference between sponsorship, mentorship, coaching? You sponsor a new club. You mentor a new club. And you coach an existing struggling club. For coaching, though, you got to be careful because there is a requirement. When you coach a club, the club needs to get to distinguished status. And I know a lot of people get, let me just say, bogged down there. I would explain later, but you have to make sure that the club gets distinguished status or you will not get credit. Also start thinking about paperwork. We're going to talk about paperwork. Start thinking about your DTM project. The presentation will be emailed to you, so just start thinking about it, what kind of project I can take on. The second year, because you have done so much in the first year, the second year, take on some district roles. It doesn't have to be the trio, the club growth director, the club quality director, or Rhonda. You don't have to be Rhonda, the district director. But you can take on even the low-hanging fruits. Speechcraft coordinator, DTM coordinator, those are great. You are still serving and you will still grow. I promise you. We have a committed trio and a wonderful trio. Second year is that time to focus on YLP and Speechcraft or club sponsorship. Also, it's the time to do your DTM project. Again, paperwork as in the next slide, and complete your second learning path. And then, yay, you'll get your DTM. See, it's not hard. A little bit of commitment, a little bit of planning, and you're right there. One thing I also want to mention is get a mentor. And if you don't have a mentor, it's okay. You can go to the Toastmaster District website and see some of the people who have accomplished the DTM and ask questions. You don't have to walk this road alone. There are a lot of people who have been there for you. So take advantage of that. Email people, email myself, email Ann if you have questions about Speechcraft. Again, our emails are on the Toastmaster District 38. We are all a team. So don't stay alone. Don't stay behind. We're all here to help. All right, now paperwork. This is very important. A lot of people don't get the DTM because they have not paid attention to the paperwork. So if you pay attention to anything tonight, it's this slide. You have to be a paid member. You have to be in good standing. Believe me or not, a lot of people forget to pay their dues and they cannot get the DTM. Already mentioned about elections. Start thinking about what roles you would like to take on for your club. Maybe the following year you want to be an area leader, division, or maybe a district. Who knows? You want to keep track of your speeches. When I go to the demo, I'll tell you why it's important. You want to pay attention to your achievement board on the TI website. Again, I'll talk about it in a minute. Talk about a club coach. The club mentor's name have to be submitted within 60 days of the new club being chartered. If you decide to go the route of Speechcraft coordinator, you have to buy the digital bundle and make sure to distribute it to all participants. And you have to submit your DTM award application. Okay, so now let's go to the demo, the base camp. All right. So sometimes when you sign on to your TI and then you go to Basecamp is just the infrastructure where that house all the projects and the requirements. In the legacy project, we had a book to walk through the different projects. Now we have Basecamp to walk us through. So Basecamp will keep track of your project as well as you are signing on to the agenda to speak on at your club. If your club has what we call free toasters, which is the district official agenda infrastructure, it will keep track of that. But you yourself also keep track of that, because sometimes, as you can see on my left side, you will see that level 1, it might show that it's only 25%. But you know you've completed all those 3 projects. You know you have signed on onto your agenda. So now, Anne, if you can flip to Basecamp so we can see exactly the Basecamp. the links? Yeah, if you can come out of the presentation, I do want to
Yeah, let me
walk
stop
through.
sharing that, and then I will share the links.
All right, thank you. So
Oh,
as
thank
she's
you.
doing that, what I do specifically is I keep track of my own speeches on a piece of paper, but also my club, because we have the free toasters. I know I can go to my VP and run all my projects and know exactly where I am. But also in Basecamp, this is what Basecamp look like, right? And those are all the tracks that you can select. So let's look at engaging humor. Right now, it shows that it's 100% level 5. Great. If you go to level 3 for me, thank you. And the elective projects. Okay. So this is what I was talking about. As you are completing all your path, there will be at some levels, you'll be required to do small projects. These are those projects, and you can pick. I believe in this path is only 2 required out of all of them. So you just go through and pick whichever you would like to work on. And then level 5, thank you. Same thing, elective projects, right? So you have to pay attention to that. Only one is required if you are doing engaging humor. So just scroll down and see the one that fits for you. You can choose the HPL, High Performance Leadership. If you are part of the Legacy program, you know exactly what this is about. But it's not your DTM. So even though you choose HPL here at level 5, you still have to complete your DTM. So now I want to show you the discrepancy I was talking about, whereas you have all your speeches, but your Basecamp does not show. And do you have an example for me?
I think let me see. I think this is,
So
let
if
me
you can put
see.
up the agenda for my club.
That's right. Thank
Yes.
you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'll do, and I have to share that document. That's a separate document. Okay.
Yes. So you have to keep in mind, some of us have started prior to 2022. I think it's October 2021. So if you're in Basecamp, you will see that the projects that are available for you to work on in Basecamp are a little bit different than what you will see in your club agenda. So, for example, motivational strategies. I see option 1, option 2, option 3. What else? Evaluation and feedback. But if I flip to Basecamp, only 3 projects will be required. And what happened there is because I signed on prior to October 2021, only 3 projects were available for me. But if you sign on after October 2021, you have more projects to work on. So you just have to make sure that the two, like you check both your club agenda and Basecamp, and make sure that you click through in Basecamp each project. Make sure you read through everything until the last slide. Otherwise, you won't get the check, even though you have done the speech at your club. Basecamp will still show that you have not completed just because you didn't take time to read through. Okay. All right. So now I believe we can go on to some questions. But before we do that, I have a quick question for you guys, and you can again type in the chat. What is the District 38 theme for this year? That's an easy one. I know everybody knows. I know. Yes, be extraordinary. Yes, good job. Um, good job, Mary. Good job, Anne. Good job, Ruth. Okay, so now, Anne, if you can please give me the questions that were sent out through the registration link and also
Sure.
through the chat, and we can do the Q&A.
All right. Let me bring them up.
Okay, thank you. And let me remind you, after the Q&A, I'm going to give you time to build up your own timeline, and that will be our last activity for the night. If you have questions, stop typing in.
All righty. Question number 1, and I don't know if she was able to make it, is from Darcel. She wanted to know, how can being an area director help towards DTM?
That is a good question. So what you can do is the first year you are the area director, that is one of the district role. The second year, you can use, so for example, you are an area director, you have 3 to 5 clubs under you, and people are asking you questions. How do I do a contest? How do I do this? How do I get on pathways? How you get a lot of questions, right? And based on all of those questions, you decide to put together a presentation with some steps to walk people through whatever it is that you've noticed as an issue. You can either do it as a video, you can do it as a pamphlet, a flyer. That will count as a project, as a DTM project for your second year. I hope that makes sense. So your first year, you take on the role, but you cannot double dip. You have to wait for the second year and then use whatever you did and document that. And that becomes a role, a DTM project.
We have a question from Andrea here in the meeting. What do you do if you are stuck on the club coach requirement? What do you do if you are stuck on the club coach requirement?
Andrea, are you still here? Can you explain what you mean stuck?
So I have been I've been a club coach twice, 2 years each term, and I have not been successful in coaching a club to distinguished. So how do you overcome that? I don't know if I took a club that was just kind of too far gone. Both times the clubs were under 8. And so I'm wondering if there's that magic number, like 10, 11 is good. So I've been stuck twice. And now I'm waiting until this upcoming fall to choose another club after the new Toastmasters year to possibly coach, because that and the Speechcraft are the only 2 things I have left. And I've kind of been stuck in this hole for about the last 4 years. That actually kept me from getting my DTM in the legacy program, and I almost had it, but COVID kind of held me up, and then I had to pivot and go the pathways route.
Yeah. All right, great question. So one thing I would recommend is you want to first make sure that the club wants to be coached. You want to make sure that the officers are open to that option. If the officers are not open, I don't think there's much you can do to motivate them. And you've been in that shoe for 2 years. What I would recommend for you is to consider mentorship, because you have done it 2 years and you were unsuccessful, and it kind of hindered you to get your DTM. So why don't you go to the route of mentorship? You don't have to hit that big goal. So that's what I will recommend.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Question here is, can you convert any speeches from the legacy program?
Another great question, because the legacy program was designed a little bit differently. We had like CC, competent communicator, ACL, advanced competent leader, or advanced competent communicator. It's a bit different program. So it's not a one-to-one translation. You will not be required, but you can recycle those speeches and give them again under the new structure. So unfortunately, you cannot easily convert.
Terrific. Okay, we have Barb Johns here, and she said that she is serving currently as District 38th Club Quality Chair and can answer questions about serving as a club mentor. So if anybody has questions about being a club mentor, she would be happy to provide some insight into that.
Great.
And on that note, if did you see the questions I put in QA? Rachel, I'm going to go up. Let me see. Rachel, you want to come off and ask your question? Because no, I didn't see it. Trying to.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and thank you for the presentation. My first question is there time to complete, is there a timeline to complete the project? For example, the DTM project, for example, is there a minimum of 3 months and a maximum of 1 year? Is there a specific timeline for the project in which it has to be completed?
No, the answer is no. As you can see, only 1% of all Toastmasters ever achieve the DTM. So that means people usually take time, but we are here to encourage you to do it in 2 years. So the only timeline that you will have is to time yourself.
Okay. So I did receive my DTM under the traditional program, but since I'm working on some other things, I said I might as well finish my path and then work on another DTM.
Oh, awesome.
So my second question is, do you have to complete the 2 paths plus the DTM project in your home club? I am a member of 2 clubs in different districts. My home club is District 38. My advanced club is District 27. I am a member of 2 clubs in two different districts, and both of my clubs meet my level credits. So am I able to submit for the DTM utilizing 1 path completed in my home club and 1 path completed in my advanced club, along with the DTM project and all the other requirements?
That is a good question. I believe that you are able to do that. It does not matter what district you are under. And just to supplement that question, I've also gotten questions as the speechcraft. Can I do it in a different district and still get credit? So let me just answer that question now. Yes, it's possible to do that. So I hope that answers your question, Rachel.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There is a question here in chat, and I'm going back and forth between the ones received in the registration. How do you find out about a new club so that you can become a club mentor?
Who was here? I think it's Bob Jones.
Yes.
Barb
So
Johns?
you can reach out to Bob and
Michelle Westgate, the club growth
Michelle
director.
Mm-hmm. And she will let you know about any leads.
There's training that I run that a club mentor or an person interested in learning more about being a club mentor would
Yes.
attend. And Michelle's the one who knows about the clubs that are coming on board, and she's the one who assigns mentors.
Mhm. Do you also do the club coach classes? Because I do know that those are also being run under Michelle's.
It's under Michelle, but it's not me.
Okay.
I just do club mentor.
Okay. So to answer that question, the person can reach out to Michelle Westgate, the club growth director for this year.
Hey, our next question, and it comes from the pre-registration. Why is sponsoring or chartering a new club so hard?
Sponsoring or charter a new club. Is the person here? Because I do want
Andrea?
to. Is that Andrea?
Yes.
Yes.
You love challenges, Andrea.
I know.
Okay.
I mean, I get stuck on the stuff that's like the hardest thing. Like,
What do you mean by?
so where I did live, I originally lived in District 10 and I moved to District 40 about a year ago, but I'm program quality director up there. But it's so hard to start a new club. It's literally, it seems like it's almost impossible to get 20 people together to start a new club in the part of Ohio I live in, because everybody is so consumed with sports and work. It's like you've got to compete with all their other stuff. So it's really difficult to, unless you're in a work environment where you can kind of convince management that this would be good for a for professional development. And I know sometimes you need enough people under one roof to do that, and where I did work there were not enough people, like there were barely 100 of us, and I hear sometimes you need like 150 or 200 to get a good pool of potential members. So it's really difficult to like start a new club from scratch. Like you can't do it on your own. It's almost like you've got to find 3 or 4 other people who want to do their DTM. And in some of the clubs that I was in, a lot of people weren't really into it. In fact, the club that I originally joined, I was a charter member. That club was created so that 4 people could get their DTM, and 3 out of the 4 got it. And once they all got it, they were just kind of like, okay, we're DTMs, we're going to do the minimum now. And they were no longer interested in putting forth the effort to bringing other clubs to the area. So I don't know what the secret sauce is to finding 20 people. Like, do I win the lottery and be like, here, each of you, here's $60, put your name on this piece of paper, you're Toastmasters, yeah. I mean, I know you can't do that, but I'm just saying,
Yes.
short of doing that, short of telling people like the first 20 people, I'm going to let you be in a new Toastmasters club. I mean, I don't know how
Yes.
you get people together to do that, you know?
I hear you, and you have an easier solution than you think. Now people are virtual. You don't have to have in-person people. You
Mhm.
can do a half in-person and virtual club, or you can just go virtual, and people all across the globe can join your club. Does that
True.
make sense?
It
You
does.
don't have to be stuck in the in-person
I just
meeting.
got to find the right social media thing to, because
Yeah, and talk to Michelle Westgate. She will
okay.
assist you. And do you have something else?
Yes. Andrea is in a different district, and actually it can be easier than that. Andrea is, like Cynthia is referring you to Michelle Westgate, which is the club growth director. It would be the same person in your district, and tell them you are looking to achieve your DTM and that you need to be a club sponsor, because they get leads from Toastmasters International of people contacting them wanting to start new clubs. And generally, your club growth director is looking for support uh, because as the club sponsor, you would be responsible for ensuring that that paperwork is filled out correctly. And that is very time consuming. So you would work with the club to do that. So reach out to your club growth director in District 10 and let them know that you need to be a club sponsor. And if the opportunity presents itself, if they would consider you.
All right, I will do that. I was club growth last year, and every lead that I had, it was either people who were just looking for a club, or it was someone who was in a corporate setting, and they would, they would give the pitch, or we get all set to do the demo meeting, and then management would be like, "Well, now's not a good time. We'll talk about that in 6 months."
Well,
So
you need
some
to
of those
change
leads that I had,
positivity drives.
right, some of those leads I had kind of set up this year's club growth director, so she's still kind of like working with some of those people, but I'm just like, oh my God, like what's in the water up here? Like that, like no one wants to be in test. It was so difficult for me, even as club growth in my team last year. It was like pulling eye teeth. We had one club charter, and that was from the work that the previous club growth director had done the previous year. So this year we're kind of set with some of the work that I did last year, but you're right, it is kind of like a difficult task. So I'm like, one of you please like sign your paperwork so I can be your sponsor. And it just didn't happen. So I will tell her that's something for me to put me on the list for once some of those clubs do charter. So
Yeah.
There
hopefully
you
we'll have,
go.
hopefully
And
something.
you
There you
you can also reach out to Michelle and then just that cross training and see what she's doing that you can adjust and do in your own district.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's a
Yes.
good idea. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
because she does offer training like through Barb Johns with mentoring and yes,
Yeah.
to see what kind of training she's going to be offering that would help with
Yeah.
that. She's excellent as our club growth director.
Yeah.
Actually, Rachel Hooks had another question. She had asked, how do we find out about opportunities to fulfill the club extension requirement? Rachel, could you explain that question?
Yeah. And as she's doing that, Anne, can you please post the activity, the link, the PowerPoint? Thank you.
You want me to bring that back up?
No, just put it in the chat for me, please. The
Oh, okay, sure.
yeah, the activity. Thank you.
And I think Rachel left. She said thank you for a great
Oh,
DTM.
okay.
Very
So
Okay.
interesting.
we
All
can go
right.
to the next question then.
All right. So then, what was this? I
That
think
was Rachel's question.
someone wanted a little bit more detail about the differences between the sponsors, mentors, and coaches. Like the different responsibilities of each of those. And those were the questions that were applicable for some you've already covered. So I didn't present those questions because your slide presentation had answered those questions.
Mhm. So the question was additional responsibilities.
Like for club coach, club mentor, and a sponsor, what is really the difference between them?
Right. So in the essence of time, there are links in the presentation, and I believe I have a link for club sponsorship and coaching and mentorship. You can go in and see what the different requirements are. But in an essence, and I mentioned it during the presentation, just think of it as when you are talking about sponsorship, like Andrea was describing, that's a new club. You are trying to charter a new club. Mentorship, the club is brand new and they just need a little bit of hand holding in order to get on this wagon. That's mentorship. Club coaching, people are struggling, like Andrea described. They don't have enough members. They don't have enough paid members. What do? Then the club coaching. But there are links in the presentation and it will be submitted. So now at this point, I would like us to take some time to do our own kind of personalized 2 years DTM and really commit to that, right? So I've suggested a couple of things that you can do for 24 months. So now we are like 23 months out. So if you can download, and were you able to post that in the chat? If you can download what Anne is posting in the chat, you are able to edit it online. Or you can print it out and just walk in it. So I'm just going to give you 4 minutes or so, and then we are going to close out for tonight. So, Anne, if you can please post it.
Yes, I put the timeline in and I put the PDF presentation in chat. Is that what you wanted me to do, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Hi.
I can't see it, but
Hi,
Okay,
hi, Anne. This is a DOT. I haven't seen it in my chat.
yeah, I don't see it either.
I haven't seen it.
okay. Let me put it to everyone. Darn that. Let me get that again.
Okay.
This is the timeline. Thank you for letting me know that. Appreciate that, Andrea.
All right, the timeline. Actually, just the timeline is good.
Okay. All right.
All right. So if you can download it, think about it, start mapping out your 2 years. Now we have 3 minutes, but you have it. So it's just to give you some ideas. Start thinking about it. You need some leadership roles. You need to do some coaching or mentorship or sponsorship. You have special workshops, and then you have your DTM presentation. So start thinking about what month, what year. I'll give you 3 minutes, and then we are going to close out. Melanie, did you have a question?
Yes, please, Cynthia.
Okay.
What was shared is only if you have a paid Microsoft Office account. It's only viewable if you have a paid Microsoft Office account.
Really?
I think so.
Oh, you know what? I do have a paid Microsoft. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, 'cause,
Um,
I have, every time I load it, I don't use it enough to maintain payment. And my work doesn't use it. None of my projects use it, so it wouldn't let me open it.
all right, I apologize for that. So the PDF will be sent out to you guys so you can have your own timeline, and I encourage you to post it everywhere, the bathroom, the bedroom, the kitchen, so you can see it at all time and really commit to 2 years. In 2026, I would like to see all of us with our DTM. Any last questions? We have 2 minutes left. Comments?
Great, opened.
It opened? Oh,
Mhm.
thank you.
Mhm.
It might be the presentation that opened for you.
The PDF, yeah.
Yeah, that's the presentation.
Okay.
Let me see if I can quickly get this done while people are asking any questions.
Well, may I
Does
make a
have the
comment?
2-year timeline on it.
Yes.
I just want to say I'm appreciative of the timeline. One of the biggest complaints that I've received during the last couple of years of holding officer positions is that as we bring on new members to hold officer positions, the amount of email is overwhelming. The amount of dialogue within the club, within the region, the training, people are like, oh my gosh, this is a whole full-time job or a college program. That's not what I signed up for. I need to have dinner with my children. I need to do this. I need to do that. We don't have any materials that help to create time to task management and timeline clarity. And it would be so helpful because we have people that are so skilled and so passionate. Just having everything come at them, including myself, it's been very overwhelming to the point of losing some really qualified people because they're just overwhelmed by the amount of email and training and the additional meetings that they don't expect. And there's nothing that does an overview of saying, welcome to being an officer. Here's what the next 6 months, here's what the next 2 years look like. Here's what we hope you'll get out of it. That would be so helpful.
Yeah, I like that comment. And you can use that. Actually, it's the last page of the presentation. You'll have it in the presentation. And you can use it if you want to do, if you are an area director or division director, because it does come with additional responsibility. And it will be helpful for you to have kind of a tool to walk you through plan, make sure you have time, you commit to that, and help you achieve your goals. So thank you for that.